The whole thing started because I was broke. Not just eating instant noodles for a week broke, but staring at an eviction notice broke. My apartment in Austin had a spare bedroom that was essentially a glorified closet for my belongings, so listing it on Craigslist seemed like a no-brainer. I needed a roommate fast. After a few duds, I met David. On paper, he was perfect. Mid-30s, worked remotely in data analysis, and was looking for a quiet place. During our brief interview, he was polite, well-spoken, and clean-cut. He barely negotiated the rent and offered to pay the first 2 months right there in cash. In my situation, crisp $100 bills were the most beautiful sound in the world. I gave him the keys the next day. For the first month, it was a dream. David was the kind of roommate you forget you have. He was so quiet, I sometimes had to check if his car was in the parking lot to know if he was even home. I never saw him use the kitchen. He never left a dish in the sink or a crumb on the counter. He never had friends over. He never played loud music. The only sign of him was the rent money, always in cash, placed on the kitchen counter on the first of the month without fail. But as the second month rolled on, the perfection started to feel weird, unsettling. I realized I had never seen him bring in groceries. Not once. I work from home a few days a week, and the kitchen is right next to my office. I would have noticed. Then it hit me that in 2 months, not a single piece of mail had ever come for him. No junk mail, no magazines, no bills, nothing. It was as if David Murray didn't exist in the eyes of the U.S. Postal Service. My curiosity started turning into a low-grade hum of anxiety. I tried looking him up online. I searched his name, his supposed line of work, and the city he said he moved from. I found nothing. No social media, no LinkedIn profile, no old news articles, no photos. It was like searching for a ghost. The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was expecting a package and saw the mail carrier outside. I went down to the mailbox and found only my own mail. I don't know why, but a cold dread washed over me. This wasn't normal. People exist. They get mail. They have an online footprint, even a small one. David had nothing. He had a routine. Every day around 2 p.m., he would leave for about an hour. I assumed to go for a walk or run errands. That day, my paranoia won. My heart was pounding in my chest as I used the spare key to open his bedroom door. I told myself I was just checking to make sure everything was okay, that there wasn't a gas leak or something. It was a flimsy excuse, and I knew it. The room was practically empty. The closet was open, and inside hung 2 pairs of identical black pants and 2 gray shirts. On the floor was a simple sleeping bag, neatly rolled up. The only other object in the room was a sleek, expensive-looking laptop sitting on a small folding camp table. There were no pictures, no books, no decorations, no toothbrush in his adjoined bathroom, just a single bar of soap. This wasn't a home. It was a temporary holding cell. Drawn by an impulse I couldn't control, I walked over to the laptop and lifted the screen. It was open. No password required. The screen illuminated a simple desktop with only a web browser icon. I clicked it and my blood ran cold. The browser history was a detailed log of a full-scale investigation into me. It started simple, my name, my social media profiles, but it quickly spiraled into something far more invasive. There were searches on property records for my apartment building detailing when I bought it and how much I paid. There were public record searches on my parents, their names, and their address in Ohio. He had found my LinkedIn profile and systematically searched for every company I had ever worked for. Then I remember that day clearly. It was last summer around July 2015. I had this old, heavy wooden desk in my apartment that I didn't need anymore. It was one of those big oak ones from IKEA, probably weighed about 100 pounds. I lived alone in a small 2-bedroom place in Seattle in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. Rent was high and I needed some extra cash, so I posted it on Craigslist for $150. The ad was simple: solid wooden desk for sale. Good condition, pickup only, no delivery. A few people messaged me, but one guy stood out. His name was Mike. At least that's what he said in his email. He agreed to the price right away and asked if he could come by that evening. I said, sure. around 7 p.m. I gave him my address. It was a walk-up building, no doorman, just a buzzer system. When he showed up, he was a normal-looking guy, maybe in his 40s, wearing jeans and a plain t-shirt. He had a pickup truck parked outside. We shook hands, and he seemed friendly enough. "Nice place you've got here," he said as I let him in. The desk was in my living room, right by the window overlooking the street. As we started moving it, he kept talking. "This building looks old. How many units are there? Like on your floor?" I thought it was weird, but I answered casually. "Oh, about 6 apartments per floor. Mine's at the end of the hall." He nodded and smiled. "Cool. Neighbors friendly? Any noisy ones?" Again, odd, but I shrugged. "Yeah, the couple next door is quiet. The guy across the hall works nights, so it's peaceful." He helped me wrap the desk in some old blankets to protect it. While we did that, he asked more. "You live alone? Must be nice having all this space." I felt a little uncomfortable, but I said yes, just me. Then he got specific. "What's your routine like? Early riser? I bet you work from home with a desk like this." I laughed it off. "Nah, I have a job downtown at a coffee shop. Out by 8 a.m. most days." He kept complimenting the apartment. "Love the layout. Kitchen right off the living room. Bedroom down the hall. Smart design and that view. You must see everything from here." It took us about 20 minutes to get the desk down the stairs and into his truck. He paid me in cash, $150 exactly, and drove off. I waved goodbye and went back inside. Something felt off. Why all those questions? I brushed it away, thinking he was just chatty. But that night, I couldn't sleep well. I kept replaying the conversation in my head. A few days passed, maybe 3 or 4. I came home from work one evening around 6 p.m. I put my key in the door, but it was already unlocked. My heart skipped. I always lock it. I live alone. No roommates, no boyfriend at the time. I pushed the door open slowly, phone in hand, ready to call 911. Everything looked normal. TV in place, laptop on the coffee table, nothing missing. I checked the bedroom. Clothes still there. Jewelry box untouched. The kitchen was fine too. But then I noticed something small. My favorite mug, the one with the Starbucks logo that I always keep on the kitchen counter, was now on my bedside table in the bedroom. I hadn't moved it. No way. I stared at it, feeling chills. Someone had been here, and they knew exactly where things were. They must have walked through the whole apartment. I called my best friend and told her. She said, "Maybe I forgot to lock the door and imagine the mug thing." But I knew better. I double-checked the locks that night and put a chair under the doorknob like in movies. Sleep was rough. The next couple of days, that unease grew into something worse. I started feeling watched like all the time. In the shower, I'd glance at the corners of the bathroom. While cooking, I'd turn around suddenly, expecting someone. At night, I'd hear creaks in the building and wonder if it was footsteps. I even started closing all the blinds earlier. One morning, I was getting ready for work and spotted something odd in the living room. There was a small black dot on the smoke detector above the couch. It looked like a lens. My stomach dropped. I grabbed a chair and climbed up. Sure enough, it was a tiny camera hidden inside the detector. Wires running into it, but disguised well. Panic hit hard. I searched the whole place. Found another one in the bedroom clock radio tucked behind the display. One in the kitchen inside a fake plant I had on the shelf. And worst, one in the bathroom vent. For cameras total. They were those cheap wireless ones you can buy on Amazon like the Wisecam models, but modified to be hidden. I freaked out and called the police right away. 2 officers came over, a guy named Officer Ramirez and his partner. They looked around, found the cameras, and removed them carefully for evidence. "These are spy cams," Ramirez said. "Battery-powered, probably transmitting to a phone app. We'll check for fingerprints." We watched the footage together in the manager's office. Sure enough, 2 nights before I found the cameras, around 2 a.m., a man in a black hoodie entered the building. He kept his head down, face hidden by the hood and a mask, picked my lock. You could see him fiddling with tools for about 30 seconds. He went straight to my door, apartment 5B, like he knew the layout. Inside for maybe 10 minutes, then out. No clear shot of his face. The truck from the desk pickup wasn't in the parking lot footage either. Police said they'd investigate, but without a face or license plate, it was tough. Change your locks, they advised. Get a security system like Ring or something, and be careful with online sales. They took the cameras for analysis, but I never heard back much. Fingerprints came up empty. Probably wore gloves. That was months ago now. I moved out of that apartment to a new place in Bellevue with better security. I don't sell stuff on Craigslist anymore. Facebook Marketplace only, and I meet in public. But sometimes I still feel that watched feeling, like, what if he had more cameras I missed? Or what if he's still out there knowing my old routine? I check my new place every week for hidden stuff. It's paranoia, I know, but after that, you can't help it. The scariest part, those cameras could have been recording for days. Me sleeping, changing, living my life, and that guy, Mike, or whoever planned it. From a simple desk sale to invading my home, it makes you think twice about who you let in. I never thought selling stuff online could turn into something out of a nightmare. My name is Alex, and I'm just a regular guy from Seattle trying to make some extra cash. Last year, I decided to sell my old iPhone 12 on Craigslist. It was in good shape, and I listed it for $250. I got a few messages, but one guy seemed serious. He said his name was Ben, and he wanted to meet up that evening to buy it. He suggested a parking lot near an old Walmart that's been closed for years out on the edge of town. It was a bit far, but he said he lived nearby and it was easy for him. Figured why not? I've done Craigslist deals before without issues. It was around 8 p.m. when I headed out. The sun had already set and the sky was dark with thick clouds. No stars or moon visible. I drove my Honda Civic down the highway, listening to a podcast to pass the time. The Walmart lot was deserted, just like I remembered from driving by it before. The store had shut down after some economic stuff, and now it was this big space with cracked pavement and weeds pushing through. Street lights were on, but half of them flickered or were burnt out, casting weird shadows. I pulled in and parked near the entrance where there was at least some light. He texted Ben. I'm here. Black Civic. He replied right away. Be there in 5. I sat in my car, engine off, scrolling through Reddit on my phone to kill time. The lot was huge. Maybe space for 100 cars, but mine was the only one. In the distance, I could see the dark outline of the abandoned building. Windows boarded up. A few shopping carts were scattered around, rusty and forgotten. Felt lonely, but I told myself it was fine. People meet in parking lots all the time. Still, my heart beat a little faster. I locked my doors just in case. After about 10 minutes, headlights appeared at the far end of the lot. A beat-up Ford pickup truck rolled in slowly. No hurry. It was parked about 20 feet away facing me. The driver turned off the lights and a guy got out. He looked normal enough, tall, maybe in his 30s, wearing a hoodie and jeans. He waved and walked over. I rolled down my window a crack. You, Alex? He asked. Yeah, Ben. He nodded and smiled. Got the phone. I unlocked the door and stepped out, holding the iPhone in its box. We chatted a bit. He said he needed it for his kids' school stuff. Seemed legit. He checked the phone, turned it on, and asked about the battery life. Everything was cool. He pulled out cash from his pocket, counted out $250. I handed him the phone and he gave me the money. Thanks, man, he said, shaking my hand, firm grip. Then he turned back to his truck. That's when it happened. As I was getting back into my car, I heard footsteps behind me, fast ones. Before I could turn, something slammed into the back of my head hard, like a rock or a bat. I don't know. Pain exploded through my skull and my vision blurred. I stumbled forward, hitting the side of my car. Everything spun. I tried to yell, but my voice came out weak. Then the world went black. I don't know how long I was out. When I woke up, my head throbbed like someone was hammering nails into it. I was lying on the cold pavement, face down. It was still night, but quieter now. No wind, no sounds except distant traffic from the highway. I groaned and pushed myself up, tasting blood in my mouth. My lip was split where I'd hit the ground. I touched the back of my head. Sticky, wet blood. Panic hit me like a wave. What the hell happened? I looked around. My car was still there. Doors open. The keys were gone from the ignition. My wallet, which I'd left in the cup holder, is gone. The cash from the sale nowhere. My watch, a cheap Timex I'd worn for years, stripped off my wrist. Even my shoes were missing. I was in socks on the dirty asphalt. The iPhone box was tossed aside. Empty. I patted my pockets frantically. Nothing. The truck was long gone. No sign of Ben or whoever hit me. Was it him or someone else hiding in the shadows? The lot felt even emptier now, like it was watching me. I staggered to my feet, dizzy, head pounding. Blood trickled down my neck. I needed help, but with no phone. How? I looked toward the abandoned Walmart. Maybe there was a payphone or something inside. No, it was boarded up tight. Chain link fence around it. Padlocked. I started walking, limping really toward the highway. My socks soaked up gravel and dirt. Every step sent jolts of pain through my head. What if they came back? What if this was a setup? Craigslist robberies happen. I'd read about them on news sites like CNN or local reports. People get lured to isolated spots, jumped and robbed, sometimes worse. My mind raced with stories I'd heard. Guys beaten half to death, left for dead. Was I next? Took forever to reach the road. Cars zoomed by, headlights blinding. I waved my arms, yelling for help. Most ignored me, probably thinking I was some drunk or homeless guy. Finally, an old Toyota slowed down. The driver, a middle-aged woman, rolled down her window a bit. "You okay?" she asked, eyes wide when she saw the blood.
No, Ikruaka.
Got robbed, hit in the head. Need to call the police. She let me use her phone. I dialed 911, explained what happened. They said, "Stay put. Ambulance on the way." The woman waited with me. Bless her. Cops arrived first. Lights flashing. They took my statement, searched the lot, found nothing.
No cameras, no witnesses.
The Walmart had been empty for years. No security. They figured it was a common scam. A fake buyer distracts. An accomplice attacks from behind. The ambulance came next. Paramedics checked me out. Concussion, needed stitches. They took me to Harborview Medical Center. Doctors glued my head wound, ran tests. No fracture, but I had a killer headache for days. Police filed a report, but without descriptions or plates, chances were slim. Ben's Craigslist account, probably fake burner email. I got home late that night thanks to a friend picking me up. Locked every door, checked windows twice, couldn't sleep. Every noise made me jump. The creak of the house, wind outside. What if they had my address from my wallet, ID, cards, everything? I canceled all my cards the next day, changed locks. But the fear stuck. I kept replaying it. The footsteps, the impact, the blackout, waking up alone, stripped of everything. It wasn't just the stuff. It was the violation. Someone planned this, waited in the dark. Months later, I still avoid parking lots at night. I sold the Civic. Too many bad memories. Now I use apps like Facebook Marketplace with public meetups like police stations.